Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting. I'd like to first establish a quorum. To my right, Selectman Tim Cromwell, and to my left, Tony Emlin. And I will call the meeting to order. Tonight we have a special guest who are going to help us out with the Pledge of Allegiance. I would at this time ask that the Department of Public Works stand and lead us in the pledge. And families are more than welcome.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm going to give just a minute, perhaps introduce and speak on the progress and some of the events of the last couple months.
Thank you. I appreciate. I invited the department here tonight, specifically and they're not all here, but there's a few of them here, and there's a few of them here with their families. So I just like to give that appreciation to them for showing up tonight. It's been a difficult year. I came in as director in August, so they have a new director. I obviously have a lot of expectations for them, and they've not failed to meet one so far. So I appreciate that. So this winter, we're total man hours for storms, and this is just for storms. We're looking at 3,383 man hours for storms this year. And we've had very little issues as far as accidents or incidents. All these guys have done an excellent job, whether it's the highway department across the 120 miles of road that we maintain in inclement weather, or whether it's the parks department that takes care of all the schools and town facilities. Everybody's been excellent. So I just like to extend my appreciation to all of them. And for the ones that who aren't here tonight, I appreciate that too. You guys have been awesome this year. As a new director coming into a town, I couldn't ask for anything better. But to go over a little bit of the more of the winter summary here, our last storm, just for a little perspective, the blizzard of 26 that we had here. So a total of 316 man hours, total labor cost of $16,520, and roughly $23,400 is what that storm cost us between labor and material. And I have a spreadsheet for you there. So tallied up this year, up until last week, so up until the 24th, we got a couple of dates we have to add in the spreadsheet still. But we're looking at $330,000-ish in storm costs. That includes labor and material. So it's been a different year for us here since it's been a different experience over the past 5-6 years. And these guys make it happen every time it snows. They're out there, they're away from their families, which some of them have them here tonight, so that's awesome. And I appreciate it. So that's my update.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Some of the things behind the scenes that go on, as many of you know, we've had a couple of big storms, and we meet with the EMD, the Emergency Management Director. The Public Works is a very large part of what happens during storm duties. One of the things I call a meeting and I ask John, is your equipment up and running? Yes, it is. Is your manpower ready to go? Yes, they are. So that's a tribute to the Public Works staff that we have here. I do appreciate it. I know the board appreciates what they do. As you read through the statistics, I can see someone saying, but that's their job. And I say, yes, it is. And I say, well done. So thank you to Public Works for what you do. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Hear, hear.
Moving on, the next order of business would be to approve the minutes of the February 4th, 2026 and February 10th, 2026 minutes.
Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve the minutes, both February 4th and February 10th. Is there a second?
Second.
And I have a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is so voted. Next order of business is the transfer station shared services discussion. Since I've been in office, I've probably had, at least in 2 separate occasions, the town of Tallinn come to me and ask, if we would consider having a shared service where, they could utilize our facility at a particular cost. And I won't steal any of, the Public Works Director, John's, information. And with that, John, I'll turn it over to you.
So we get these phone calls. We're in a unique situation with our facility that we have as the transfer station, and we get these phone calls regularly because of it. A lot of towns don't have what we have as far as the transportation goes. So we were approached by the town of Tallinn, and so I'm respectfully asking that you guys consider scheduling an informational meeting for our residents to discuss the potential of a collaboration between the town of Stafford and the town of Tallinn for use of the transfer station. And it's to explore whether there may be an opportunity for their residents to utilize the transfer station under some form of partnership or a shared service agreement. And I just want to be really clear, the discussion is preliminary. There's several possible models that this could take. And I want to set that for an informational meeting so we have time to discuss it, and then we have time to hear back from our residents as well. Any arrangement would require very careful consideration by your board and taxpayers for operational capacity, financial impacts, and the overall benefit to Stafford's residents. So again, given the level of public interest that could accompany a proposal of this nature, I believe it would be beneficial to hold a meeting where the concept can be presented openly to residents, allow the town to outline what such a partnership might look like and some different models that we could possibly choose from, and also give, potentially Tallinn a chance to give what their perspective is and the challenges that they face without a transfer station. So my goal is to make sure that there's transparency and provide the community with an opportunity to understand and discuss the concept early on in the process. And again, this is just preliminary talking. There's no decisions been made. Obviously, it would be your board that makes that decision. So that's what I'm asking you for.
John, do you know what type of consideration they were looking for? Is it bulk? Or is it just too premature that you can ask that?
So primarily, I think they have a chance. So they have their own curbside pickup, which is paid through I believe it's paid through their taxes. I think what their primary issue is or concern is their bulky waste has become very expensive. So there may be an opportunity for us to assist in that. Again, if we can talk about how that works and how that could possibly either benefit us, or if it doesn't, then that's not the route that we would take, obviously.
And what you're looking for this evening is just permission to continue to investigate that opportunity.
I'd like to investigate it, and I'd like for your office to set an informational meeting for the public to attend with enough time frame for people to hear about it and then be able to give some input on it based off of what they, I have some preliminary ways that we could do this. So I'd like to present those different options essentially, and I'd also like to give Tallinn the chance to be at that meeting to give them an opportunity to let's hear what they have to say.
And how much time for prep would you think you need?
I think if you guys want to move forward with this informational meeting, I think if we around 30 days or so, give it a month, that gives us enough time to push it out to the public and set that. I think that's a reasonable amount of time.
Thoughts?
Good, I like it. I don't know how much time we need to offer the public. Can we do it within 30 days? Or?
Yes, because it's just informational, so there's no legal requirements.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And they give you enough time to come up with all possible revenue or what's the cost?
Yeah, I have some potential models, and then moving forward from here, I'll talk with the town of Holland and kind of get their take and kind of understand. Now that you guys have an interest in hearing about it, then let me take a little more time to understand what they need, and then let's come up with some potential solutions and see what the taxpayers think.
Move forward and schedule it for.
Yeah.
Okay, John. Thank you. Thanks for
Thank you.
getting involved in that. John kind of walked into this once again. I had a first inquiry probably 7 or 8 months ago, and maybe a little longer, and then a second follow-up. So thanks, John, for picking up the ball on that. Next order of business is the Historic Advisory Commission request for ordinance change. You have the ordinance in your packet. What I'd like to do, there's a representative that's going to speak this evening, correct? Butch, are you talking on this tonight?
Pardon me?
Are you talking on this tonight? You're going to make a
I can if you
presentation?
want me to.
Yes, if you would.
Okay. I'm just going to read the letter from the,
Okay.
and it says that the Staff Historic Advisory Commission has noticed a discrepancy between our commission's mission statement as stated in the town ordinance 1-26 and checks duties as stated in the town of Stafford's zoning regulations, in the section 5.13. The ordinance says to study and provide advice to the Board of Selectmen and Planning and Zoning Commission on the use of or disposition of selected town-owned properties. But in the zoning regulations, under special procedural requirements, it says the applicant, meaning the person who may be making an application for changing a building or something of that sort, the applicant shall notify the Stafford Historic Advisory Commission of all adaptive reuse conversion applications at the time of filing such applications that affect that the Stafford Historic Advisory Commission may comment on the appropriateness of the use and planned restoration, preservation, or of something like tongue, architectural integrity. The fact that the Planning and Zoning Commission asked us to do this to any town property that they may have a question on, but in the ordinance it says select town-owned properties. We're asking that you just remove the selected town-owned, those three words, the selected town-owned property, the selected town-owned. Those are only three words I'm asking you to remove, so that the ordinance is compatible with the zoning regulations.
Butch, I apologize. I just assumed all the board members would know who you are and what you represent. Would you mind giving your name and?
Yeah, Larry Clark, I'm the chairman of this Stafford Historic Advisory Commission.
Thanks. What's the significance, Butch, of, well, first, did you go back to the zoning board at all on this? Have you gone back to the other board and asked for their input on this?
Have I gone back to
PZC?
Yeah, planning and zoning.
no, I don't know that that's necessary. They're already asking us to do this in certain times. They already asked us to do a report on churches up in Staffordville. We're looking at possibly, there's a new law that just came into effect, okay? And it affects towns as far as zoning goes. And some of that is going to affect historic houses, historic buildings. And so we're looking at doing a report on that also. But we want to make sure that there's no problems when we do that because of those three words. Because some of the reports that we're going to have to do may not be just town-owned properties, okay? Maybe other properties throughout town. And the fact that we do this, the thing we have to understand is that the Historic Advisory Commission has no power, zero.
Right.
Okay, zero power. So if you increase our power by 50% by taking this out, 1.5 times 0 is still 0.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's not going to make any difference. The only thing it can do is if down the road, if the Planning and Zoning Commission asks us to do a report on a building, and the person who's does the application doesn't like our report and takes us to court, the town can get sued. We're trying to avoid that. That's the only thing this does. That's all it does. It doesn't give us any more power. It doesn't give us anything else. All it does is when we go to give them a report, it's free and clear. And there's no problem with those three words.
And if I'm correct, it would take a zoning, it would take a meeting to do that. because it is an ordinance. You'd be changing the ordinance.
Yeah, I think
So we'd
that's,
have to-
I think that's the thing to do, to be honest with you. That's why we asked you to look at it, and
Okay,
take those 3 words out of it for us.
okay.
Okay.
With that, I'll ask the board at some point to
Okay,
consider this. All right?
all right.
Thank you.
May
Yeah,
I,
This is Beth McGurr, she's the secretary of the Staff Historic Advisory Committee.
Beth McGurran, 95 West Stafford Road, and I work with Butch on this commission. We have an example for each of the selectmen, the report that we submitted in June 2025 about the Staffordville Church that you may realize has been purchased by a private person. And so the PZC had asked us, they were more than willing to have us do research on the history of that church, provide it to the prospective owner. And then we just simply provided recommendations on preservation of the essential nature of that area and where the church is. So that's what we do. It's nothing prohibitive or, you know, I don't know that you've ever seen that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Butch. We will, I'll take this information back, and I have a couple of questions that I will ask of the PZ and for zoning, and we'll get back to you, Butch. This is not time sensitive, correct? It is not time sensitive, Beth?
No, I don't think so, but with the changes in the housing that's coming down the pike, it may in fact be something that we could help the PZC with by studying some of the single family to double to 2-family conversions that the PZC is looking into. Other cities have in fact issued guidelines for that kind of thing. And so we, as many of us are retired, so we have time to do some research and provide such reports to the PZC, which is an alternate to the PZC.
Okay.
So I don't think I think you don't want to wait for 6 months.
No,
No.
I understand. Thank you, Beth.
Yeah.
You answered my question.
Right. Just have I'm going to give you copies of this, okay? This is each one, there's a copy of it, or 3 copies go in there for each one of you. And copies of the zoning regulation we're talking about, 5.12. Okay.
Believe you have it, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's important, it's significant, and it's not a commission that's gonna overreach their authority, so.
Because we don't have any.
I think I need a little more
Read
information.
something you don't have.
But I'm sure I'll learn something looking into the information too, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, moving on. Next order of business is the appointments. I'm going to ask Selectman Armelin to do that. It's
Where are they?
right here.
He always gets the easy
Oh,
ones.
hey, thanks.
Can I put it on the record? He gets the easy one.
No, I could just fake it better. I was an altar boy. All right, these are appointments from March the 4th, 2026. Family Services Advisory Board, Alyssa Skews and Brian Bradway, 1-year term to expire 3/1/2027. Veterans Advisory Committee, John R. Susi, Elizabeth Dune, Richard Schaefer, Jonathan H. Wetton, also known as John Henry. 2-year term to expire 3/1/2028. Zoning Board of Appeals alternate, Mr. Sage McPherson, who's normally in the group. There you are.
He's the man.
Unexpired term to expire 10/15/2028, and he will be 25 years old by that point.
Thank
You
you.
need ID to prove that.
I would,
Yeah.
that's the motion, so we can.
Yeah, and I motion for acceptance.
I second.
I have a motion and a second for the appointments this evening. Is there any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion's voted. I know, Sage, you're in the audience. Thank you for volunteering, and anybody else I may have missed. It's not always easy to get people to step up to committee, so thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Appreciate everybody volunteering.
He needs to go get sworn in at the town.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point. You have to be sworn in at the town hall when you get a minute.
It's a small tattoo back here, don't worry.
I got a couple anyway.
Oh, you might have to scratch that off. Moving on, the next order of business is the fiscal year 26-27 budget of the Selectmen's budget. We made the presentation. We still don't have the insurance numbers yet. It is in your package. It is in your budget. I haven't gotten a lot of input from the Board of Finance. As you know, we made our presentation to them. I do expect that we'll have to have a special meeting to approve the budget. But I just don't have all the answers yet. Insurance is one thing. Revenues is always something, the revenue expenditure difference is what will make the bottom line. So what I'd like to do is just move this to another date when we have more information. We'll certainly have to do it before the public hearing, but I'll get a hold of you and we'll hold a meeting for that. I don't anticipate a lot of changes, just waiting for the insurance costs and their revenues to be set.
Okay, do you need a motion to table?
Yeah, we'll take it.
Motion to table.
I second that.
I have a motion to table this agenda item and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's so voted. Under informational items, this has come up a couple of times, but I never had the award. I have it now. The award is from Water Environment Federation. It is dated June 20th, 2025. It is to John Wenton, the Public Works Director. Dear Jonathan, it is both an honor and a privilege to announce that you have been selected by the Water Environment Federation, WEEF, as the recipient of a 2025 Operator Scholarship. John, if you would, can you just tell us a little bit about the award and how it came to be?
WEF is a national organization for water and sewer. I applied for a scholarship. I presented the scholarship. I didn't know you were gonna bring this up, so.
It's always nice to be recognized for what you do.
I'm in school for an environmental science degree. I don't know if you guys know. So, and it's got a focus on water resource recovery. And so they were happy to give me a scholarship for this.
Excellent. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. Next order of business, I did receive an email and I'll just read it very, very quickly. It's not very long. Dear William Morrison, I'm pleased to share that in 2025, Connecticut Water invested approximately $1.8 million in drinking water infrastructure in Stafford. These improvements directly support water quality and service reliability. This year, we also met our commitment to replace 1% of our water mains, installing more than 18 miles of new pipe that will serve customers for generations. Connecticut Water continues to be an industry leader in proactive pipeline replacement because we know that consistent reinvestment is essential to maintaining reliable water service. Unfortunately, recent events in Connecticut, such as the extended service interruption in Waterbury, have shown the consequences of deferred maintenance and aging mains. We understand the infrastructure upgrades come with costs, and we remain strongly committed to water bill affordability. Our water infrastructure and conservation adjustment allows for small incremental rate adjustments up to twice a year as projects are completed to prevent shared rate increases. This approach highlights the commitment to affordability. Another example of this commitment is our water rate assistance program for income eligible customers that provides 10 to 40% or 80% reduction in the water bill. We are focused on operating efficiency to help keep rates stable. For example, our investment on site solar generation is expected to pay for itself within a few years and will reduce electricity expenses that would otherwise be passed on to customers. Producing our own clean energy will help shield customers from rising costs decades to come. I did receive this. I thought it was important just as informational. It's in your packet, and it once again sounds like Connecticut Water is a great partner to the town of Stafford. So I did want to pass that along. Next on the agenda is an update in Amber. Do not get up. And by the way, I'd like to welcome Amber back. She's been out on a medical. She is, and she's in the office. And I appreciate the effort she puts in. So Amber will give us an update on our WIT school.
That has not stopped. Certainly have continued work on that. I think my away message said, like, I had surgery, but I will answer questions about the WIT school and the cleanup. We did finalize the APCA, which is the Brownfields Cleanup Alternatives Plan. Sort of outlines the site-specific conditions of what's going on in the building. So that's finalized. We are going to clean it up. There is an extension being processed with the EPA right now, and that brings us through September 26th, which obviously is not that far away. We have had this grant for a while, as I'm sure everybody knows. Complications with redevelopment scenarios, not having sort of that figured out was a big hurdle. But talking with EPA or engineers, we have the money to clean it up. We're going to clean it up. So this is cleanup only, not the reeves of the building. I submitted it for SHPO review. Everything needs to be reviewed by the Historic Preservation Office. They give recommendations, since it is an old structure, or historic structure, excuse me. They want to sort of put their eyes on it. We toured the inside of the building. They look at it in terms if someone could potentially redevelop, or the town, could they get tax credits for the work performed there? So they provided their feedback. I don't know how far in the weeds you want me to get, but I'll keep it light. So they had a focus on the windows. That's a big tax credit item if you choose to get them. Yeah, if they choose, if we do it, if someone, whatever. That's a potential for income in a redevelopment scenario. So as many of you know, or probably noticed, the windows are not in the best of shape. They'd like us to retain examples of each type of window so that they could potentially be replicated in the future.
I don't understand what they want. Do they want us to save them if we can? Is that what the point is?
The letter, I did put it in bullet points. We must save and store 2 examples of each type of window being removed.
Okay.
These will serve as reference models for future restoration work.
Got it.
And they need to be clearly labeled, all of that.
Yeah.
And then take photographs of their original place. So in the event that it does get redeveloped, there's a reference point for that, and that available funding could potentially be there. And then the other was, which is, I found pretty interesting, interpretive in panels in Hyde Park, which sort of talks about the construction of the building. This is so they want the history to be sort of memorialized. Of how it came to be. 3 panels that tell the story of the development of schooling in Stafford with specific focus on the WIC school and characterizing the architecture of the building. So, like when you go to like a fancy overlook and it has like a little panel about what you're looking at, that. So that's what they came back, which are all feasible items. The bids and specs, which is what will guide the remedial contractor during the abatement process, that influences the remediation of the property. So instead of like them going crashing and pulling out all the windows and throwing them into a dumpster, those will be retained. I think to stretch our dollars further, focusing on the plaster has to go, the tile has to go. There's like specific materials in there that needs to be abated regardless. So we're really kind of focusing on those items that are like the bang for the buck, because we don't know what's going to become of the building.
I may have missed the date, but you have a date for the beginning of the abatement?
So that will be coming. We have to finish the site-specific quality assurance plan and health and safety. So that is like noticing of the neighborhood. We're gonna have a public meeting that's gonna do step-by-step of the cleanup plan. We have the RFP for the abatement contractor that needs to be published, and I expect all of those items to be taking place this spring, and looking at a cleanup throughout the summer.
And we're also, you're also considering putting out a second RFP for reps, correct?
Yes, we have issued adaptive reuse request for proposals, interested parties. We've received some interest and they weren't complete proposals. So re-releasing that, and since we have released it, it closed and then people reached out afterwards. So to sort of get like a full clear picture of the potential interest, re-release that. I want to do that actually either this week or the beginning of next. We have outstanding applications for supplemental funding with the Community Investment Fund, which is a state program, revolving loan fund with CROG, that's a grant, not a loan. So submitting additional proposals to get all the funding we need to address the site conditions of that property.
Thank you. Any questions?
Has anyone approached the people that did the Borough School on Prospect Street?
Yes, I have talked to him, and I sent him the last RFP directly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And I will send it again.
Appreciate it.
Amber, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you're also working with John, myself, and two other grants, the road grant and the congressional grant. Just real quick, if you could just give us, and by the way, we're getting grants and we always are trying to get grants. I say we, like it's me. But we work at the town hall to try to get as many grants as we can. Of late, I've noticed them coming in on a Monday, due on a Thursday. I won't steal your thunder.
Yeah, that was the congressional directed spending that comes up every year. They change sort of their focus. A lot of community facility type priorities like the ADA accessibility town hall, that'll be ramping up soon as well. So we've talked about vehicle acquisitions for ambulance and police. I know that some of those are aged as well, and equipment. So that's the focus, and it's literally a week to put that together, Friday to Friday. So let's do this Friday. We're also working on another trip grant. I think everyone's familiar with the walkway. Since that initial grant, they've included surface transportation, which we love because we can do roads. So we will be looking at Willington Avenue for that, drainage, paving, all curbing, sidewalks, all the good things on that. And that's April is the deadline for that. So we'll be looking to pair that. I think grants are kind of like the necessities, surface transportation, all of the things to offset the budget, and then things like the WIT school, certainly a priority. But there's like kind of those two pots, like programming and things like that. So try to do both.
Thanks. I just want to give you a shout out. There's always something going on. We're always working on a grant. Amber, of course, keeps us in line and keeps us really on target. So watch that tone. Thanks, Amber, for doing that. I would like to, under information, I think it's SafeNet is doing a talent show here on Saturday evening. Do you have any information on that?
Doors at 5:30, production at 6:30. I hear there's a special EMC or two EMCs. Good guy.
It's just they're getting and they have a great agenda, but they're raising money for SafeNet, correct?
Yes,
So
organized by Lori Dillon and Jill with the First United Methodist Church. So they're all very musically.
just wanted to give them a shout out. It's people are always working to try to find funding sources that are not necessarily through the operating budget. So once again, I was happy to agree to MC that, and hopefully we'll have we'll have a great time and raise some money. Thanks, Amber. Several meetings ago, you'll remember that I challenged the senior center, the community center, to try to address some of the questions that I get from seniors. Seniors are having a very difficult time, some are, in just really everyday financing and direction on a lot of things, whether it be law, whether it be financing for food, transportation. So I asked the community center to put together a program which Grace did. The Senior Program and Resource Expo, assistance and guidance options for older adults and the people that love them, will be Wednesday, March 25th, here at the Stafford Community Center from 4 to 6:30 p.m. We talked before, I get questions often of where can a senior turn for help? And what we did was try to put together some available resources for seniors, whether it be financial, whether it be housing, or whether it be transportation. So I did want to just mention that once again. And what's the time? It is 4 o'clock to 6:30 p.m. Thank you. Okay, the next order of business is public comment. I ask that when you give public comment, you give your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes for public comment. Is there any public comment? Come right up to the microphone, miss, please.
I'll be happy to do that. Yeah, I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna bring it down so everybody can hear me.
Thanks.
Now we can hear you.
Okay, great. Donna Wright, 95 West Stafford Road. I would like to understand that the monies that you needed to pay for the snow removal, et cetera, whatever with the snowstorms, that wasn't in the budget for 25 to 26. So are you gonna have to take that from some other resource in your budget for Public Works?
We're not there yet because the balance hasn't been realized. We have another storm on Friday.
Right.
But what the Board of Selectmen will do, we'll look at the resources that are available within their budget and perhaps do a transfer. If that's not the case, we would have to then seek guidance from the Board of Finance
We first look for a transfer within.
within the department.
In other words, you'd have to sacrifice something to pay for that.
Sure. Yeah. So that'll be a discussion that the board will have. I'll be open and take as much comment as I can from the board. So an alternative could be to take within, and then another one would be to approach the Board of Finance for consideration of another avenue.
Be a shame for them to have to sacrifice something,
Yeah.
especially not the paving,
Nope.
right?
Thank you, Donna.
So we'll follow up on
Yeah,
that.
and I'll note that.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you. Is there any other public comment?
She still has another minute.
Run right up
Speaking
here.
of
Come on
fundraising.
up. Run.
Oh, yes, I have it, yeah.
The polar bear plunge is on March 21st from 12 to 3 at Staffordville Lake that raised funds for the summer recreation camp. Helps offset costs for transportation, supplies, and then helps keep program costs low for participating families. So I think the actual cost of camp per child is $900. Most families pay between $100 and $400. So it's a very low cost child care option in our community. And the polar bear plunge, 100% of it will go to the summer rec camp program. So, and you can, if you don't have to jump in, you can make a pledge and cheer on dry land. You can jump in. I'm looking for someone to go in for me.
Oh, you may be going in, okay? You may need help, but you'll be going in.
There's also fun activities and music. We're gonna have an ice carver this year, so there's a lot of new things too that are going on.
The only thing is, are you gonna have cold water though, Amber, because it's been a nice day today.
I think we'll be good.
It'll be so much.
We do meet to, discuss the, really the environmental concerns, and we have thick ice there now. And last year, we had to move it a couple times. So we'll continue to meet and work, but thanks for bringing that up. I actually had forgotten.
Could be a kiddie pool on top of the ice.
Any other public comment? With that said, a motion to vote.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, on motion so voted. Thanks again for coming.
Submitted another.
So do this.